The weekend box office. Stranger
Bro.
Things wasn't the only thing blowing up over the weekend. Apparently, and this was not on my bingo card, but Zootopia 2, I figured it would dominate the box office, especially because Wicked for Good was in its second weekend. I was not expecting these global numbers. Rob, when we look at this over here from
Insane global numbers.
Variety, Zootopia 2 feasts on $156 million. This is great for a second week. I mean, most films would be happy for 93 million opening weekend, and Wicked for Good got 93 in its second. A bit of a downturn, which we'll talk about in this article later. But dude, globally, I had to refresh Box Office Mojo because I'm like, wait, you're telling me that Zootopia 2 made over $500 million on its opening weekend?
And it was monstrously huge in China.
Yeah. The article brings out, I'll just read through this. Hollywood is giving thanks for Zootopia 2. You're not kidding after the third quarter. And Wicked for Good, two Thanksgiving offerings that kept movie theaters stuffed over the holiday weekend. The animated sequel Zootopia 2 towered over the domestic box office with a 158 million from 4,000 venues, and including 98 million over the traditional weekend. Monday's final tally was above Sunday's estimate of 156 over the 5-day and 96 over the weekend. Those ticket sales rank as the second best Thanksgiving launch of all time. That's behind Moana 2 of last year, which was 225. And it beat Frozen 2, another Disney sequel, which generated 125 over the 5 days. The original Zootopia made 75 in its initial, and it became a huge hit. And earned over $1 billion worldwide. We're halfway there right now with the opening weekend. But it says here Zootopia 2 was even bigger for us at the international box office. Rob, as you were saying, 272 million in China alone.
That's insane.
It earned 559, almost $560 million globally, with just and yeah, you could say Wednesday, Thursday, but just the traditional 3-day, it made 500 million. It's the fourth biggest opening in history, which I believe that puts it behind Endgame, what do you call it? Infinity War and Spider-Man No Way Home, if that's true. And then it goes on to say down here, this is kind of interesting. We can talk about this in a little bit, but Wicked for Good, although it dazzled with 93 million on its release, it actually is a bit of a drop from the original movie's second weekend, which I think it says earned 118 over a 5-day holiday last year. So I think that Wicked for Good is going to be fine. Obviously, I think it's definitely going to match Wicked. I still have it at about 800 million. Let me just look up real quick on Wicked. Yeah, so Wicked. That's Wicked for Good. Let me look up Wicked real quick here on its global total. It was 758. So I've got Wicked for Good about 800.
Yeah, I mean
820-ish.
Which is a great. I mean, that's great. To maintain that kind of the both movies to get a little bit more money. I mean, that makes it a $1.5 billion franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an incredible response.
Yeah,
for these films.
Thoughts on the lead here, Zootopia 2 over $500 million.
Look, I just want to go on record as saying I always thought Zootopia was going to hit $1 billion.
Yeah,
I did say it on this show more than once, and I know John would say no. He didn't think that was a guarantee. I was like, "There's no way." When this film, I haven't seen it yet, but I love the look of this movie. I've loved the characters of this movie, and clearly, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, it didn't get our money, and it didn't hurt it from getting over $500 million.
No, and I could look at this and be like, I mean, look at the color palette alone of this. There's something very inviting about this franchise. And I didn't see the first Zootopia in the theater. I bought it.
Okay.
And I was like, I love this movie.
Yeah.
So I will definitely roll out and go see it this week. But it doesn't surprise me. And look, they launched it at the perfect time for Thanksgiving weekend, and I think there's not a lot. I think both of these movies are going to play through the rest of the year, and
sure.
I think they're going to do quite well.
I mean, Zootopia is going to be in theaters probably into January.
Yeah, and people are going to go see it again, I would imagine. Yeah. And again, this is a franchise. How can you not? This is also an animated film that plays with both kids and adults.
Sure.
So
Right.
it's
A lot
not the
like
kind of thing.
Pixar, though I know this isn't Pixar, but it kind of touches on those themes where
Yes, it
both
does.
are going to enjoy themselves in the movie. Yeah,
100%.
although the reviews haven't been as not terrible, but just not as good. Like most people are saying Zootopia 2 is great, but it's not as good as Zootopia 1, which is common for a sequel typically.
Yeah, yeah,
But it doesn't seem to stop the audiences. They're still coming. And I think
yeah.
this is, I mean, if you're looking at just the doldrums that the box office was in, I think that between Wicked for Good last week and this obviously is a huge ramp up leading into the rest of this year. I don't think that Marty Supreme is going to be a huge, movie just because of
No,
its, you know, but it'll do well on its own. But
it'll be
Avatar,
interesting.
this is a huge ramp up going into Avatar. Theaters are going to be collecting on Zootopia still at the same time as Avatar. And there's going to be families who didn't get to go on Thanksgiving weekend and are going to catch Zootopia 2 on Christmas weekend.
Yeah, yeah, and
So,
of course, I think Avatar is. Look, as we've often talked about, the Avatar movies have never opened huge.
yeah.
They've started slow, but they play long because people want to go visit, Pandora. And if it's true, the movie is as good. I mean, Disney is screening it all this week,
Yeah.
so they're they are not shy about showing this movie, and that is a really great sign. So if I see it, I'll find out. I'm supposed to see it Friday, and I can't wait. Unfortunately, they're not going to show the Doomsday trailer in front of it then, but I'm still going to go see it,
Uh-huh.
and I can't wait. I can't wait.
What do you
So
think in terms of weekend 2 for Zootopia? I mean, we're going to see a downturn. Obviously, you're going to, but did most people just see it this weekend? So are we looking at like 70%
well, it
drop, or do
opened.
we
It
think
had a
it's
5 day. You had a 5 day that Thanksgiving
yeah?
weekend. So I think that the drop is going to be substantial
Do you think it's
in
going to be
terms
like
of.
70, or do you think it'd be less than that, 60?
I think it'll be domestically. I could see it before. Let's just call it a 45% drop. So
That's
yes,
legs. That's
it's
legs
still
though.
legs. It's still legs. But I'm going to say 45% because it did open across 5 days for a holiday weekend. I think the box office. I don't know if they're only counting like was 156
The
or something.
156 was the full, the 96 was the proper for
Oh,
3 days.
96. Yeah. So okay, if 96 was for 3 days, I could see it doing. Let's call it 65
Okay.
because
So,
that's still a big.
yeah. So
You know.
whatever it gains over this week between the weekend and then next weekend, then you're looking at the weekend of like half drop. So that's like 75, and let's say it picks up another 50 over the week. I mean, this thing is pushing to 1 billion within 3 weeks,
Yeah,
or at
it
least
could be.
4 by the end of the
It could
month.
be. It's just kids are back in school, so
Yeah.
but they still can go.
Yeah. Don't stay in school. Go see Zootopia 2, kids.
That's right, kids.
Yeah.
You too can Zootopia it up.
So, what do we think this means? Because I had brought this up before where the theaters were really suffering in the third quarter. And it's so easy to say, oh, theaters are dead. But then we see numbers like this. We see Wicked. We see Avatar is going to be huge. We see a lot of excitement for next year. That's a year from now, but a lot of stuff in between. I mean, do we think that we're trending up with theater going? Or do we
Well,
think
no,
it's going to.
I look the theater business that you have to provide populist spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the theaters are at. Unfortunately, all of these Oscar bait films, even a movie like Hamnet. Look, as much as I want to see Chloe Zhao's Hamnet, and I think it's going to be great. Who's going to go see it? You're trying to get you've got to give movies that are going to be 4 quadrant experiences to theaters because people. I think Begonia is a really great movie that I think a lot of people would actually quite enjoy, but
Yeah.
they tried to sell it like some art house movie. They should have sold it as a populist film, and I like the trailers and everything, and the beautiful movie poster. When you look at the art, it's like, what is this?
Right.
Whereas it's a romp. They should have said, they should have leaned into this woman runs corporate America,
Yeah.
and these people are going to punish her for it, or something like that.
Yeah.
And
17 million right now domestic, but it is 34 worldwide.
yeah, but that it should. I think Begonia should have been. It could have been a zeitgeist movie that people could have watched because not only does it have a lot to say about our current our current times, it also has a great twist. And so I think that it deserved to win more money, or to get more money at the box office. The performances are great. Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone are so good in it. But those kinds of movies just aren't doing well. They're not connecting to the wider audience, because I don't think people, unless they're horror, they're not going.
And it just seems like more and more examples of the cast did not pull the audience, because I know it was open like to only 1,300 some theaters, but even Eternity, I mean, look at that cast.
I've heard Eternity is great too.
5 million right now. I mean, it's not a wide opening yet, so that number is going to get bigger, but still, the good thing is these movies have smaller budgets, but I do think Eternity probably has a larger budget, because the sets are pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And location shoots and stuff like that. But something like Begonia, that's a lower budget, so making 34 million on that isn't too shabby. I mean, it's going to make more. We talked about this before. I think there's a resetting of the box office. I think it's just unsustainable to think that we're going to have like $17 billion films every year. That's just not going to happen. That happened at a certain period. We're in a reset. But I think if studios can continue to put out movies that are mid-budget to low budget, make profit on those, you're not losing money on that, then that just adds to your coffers, and then you get the tent poles that blow things up. It'll be a successful thing, but I don't think that translates to theaters are dead. I just think it's a resetting. And I think theaters have to do now their part too, to making coming to theaters more,
But also, theaters also proved, I mean, the studios also proved that you can make a lot of money with mid-budget horror.
Yes, you can.
Warner Brothers proved it. I mean, with Weapons, Sinners, Final Destination, and the Conjuring, Last Rites. Those 4 movies alone made over $1 billion for the studio. And I think Conjuring was the most expensive at 55 million.
I mean,
that's a business model that the studios have to get behind.
Now, it kind of reminds me of the critical favorability of like horror from the 70s, of that kind of arc, right?
Yeah, putting out like The Omen and The Exorcist, and they weren't making
money. Even take out inflation, whatever, they weren't drawing audiences like today's horror is. Even still, but you're having that critical acclaim with the money now. So interesting times, and we talk about. When I was younger and kind of understanding like the history of cinema and everything, it was so easy for people to boo-hoo the 80s, because it was like a sellout decade. It wasn't the new Hollywood of the 70s.
Quentin Tarantino will tell you the 80s is one of the worst decades ever for film, and
it was schlock, or it was just trying to get the big tent pole. Well, that's the era we're in,
right?
And horror is kind of reaching back to the era of the 70s critically with their films, and I think that's the era we're in for most movies, and tent poles are what's drawing audiences. But I don't know if that's such a bad thing, because I love the movies of the 80s, and you could boo-hoo it critically, but I don't care. I enjoyed it, and it carried over into the 90s. Look at Jurassic Park, and
Look, I mean, what Greta Gerwig did with Barbie, you can poo-poo Barbie all you want. You can't take away from its success. And if you look at that movie, that film had no right to work as well as it did.
Mm-hmm.
And it did because you had filmmakers that were able to take a ridiculous tentpole idea that shouldn't have worked, but they did. They made it work. So, yeah, I think that that's the kind of thing you got to be doing. You got to look at Barbie. You look at Oppenheimer. I mean, Christopher Nolan's C-Note is his own genre.
Sure.
So but that kind of thing, it's those things that you've got to be thinking about. I mean, Christopher Nolan's an outlier, but Barbie is not. That was not somebody that was Greta Gerwig they were taking a shot on her as a creator on a crazy idea about making a Barbie movie that worked. It's that kind of creative thinking that we need to see at the studio level that can bring in those kinds of successes. But right now, horror filmmakers, mid-budget level, I mean, Weapons cost $38 million.
Yeah.
And look what you got. You got a zeitgeist film that made a lot of money.
Yep.
And that was because you had one guy, Zach Kreger, and you had a producer in Roy Lee who had the vision to find Zach Kreger and give him a shot to make Barbarian. And the studio went, oh, okay, that's how you build a career now. You make a $4.5 million horror film. You have a producer like Roy Lee who knows what's up. He says, you know what? I'm going to take a chance because nobody else wanted to make Barbarian, but he can muster up a budget under $5 million, goes and makes it, becomes a hit. Then the next movie goes to Warner Brothers. Now Zach Krager's doing Resident Evil. They got to be thinking this way. But the problem is there's nobody working at studios that have the vision that Roy Lee does.
Mm. Well, Roy Lee's working there, but I understand. It's the minority there.
But he's independent. You know, Roy Lee this year, he had How to Train Your Dragon. He had the Minecraft movie, but he also had Companion. He also had Until Dawn, but he had Weapons and The Long Walk too. Yep. All one guy in one movie at multiple studios.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, The Long Walk was great and deserved a bigger viewership, but
but it'll find it. But that movie only cost $20 million.
Yeah. It was just fairly simple to shoot in a sense. I'm not not that
they
I'm
shot
not saying like there was
park in Alberta, I think, somewhere in Canada.
That movie was great. It was great.
Yeah.
And what they did with the budget was amazing. Listen, guys, that's the end of our main topics. What do you guys think about this huge box office for Zootopia 2? Have you seen it? Are you going to go see it? Have you seen Wicked for Good? What's going on? Let us know what you guys are seeing in theaters, elsewhere. What do you think about our theaters back? Are you gearing up now for Avatar and the Avengers Doomsday trailer that's going to precede it? I think that alone is just going to be pushing. I think Fire and Ash could probably be the second biggest Avatar movie, is my guess.
Could be.
But we'll see. Let us know what you guys think in the comments.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.